Host Gloria Cunningham welcoming you to the John Telford Detroit Show, coming to you live every Monday at 10 o'clock a.m. on Wjzz Cool Tv. Dr. John Telford is a former Detroit Public Schools superintendent, a former conqueror of Olympic track champions, a championship track coach, poet, newspaper columnist, and author of 8 books available at Amazon.com or by calling 313-460-8272. That's 313-460-8272. A recipient of the Detroit City Council Spirit of Detroit Award and the Joe Louis Foundation Spirit of the Champ Award. Dr. Telford was named Wayne State University's Alumnus of the Year, and a Detroit track is named for him. His email address is drjohntelfordedd@aol.com. That's Dr. John Telford, EDD@aol.com. So here he is, the man of many talents, Dr. John Telford, and his show.
Thank you, Gloria Cunningham, for that introduction in your melodious voice that you also do on my other show.
Yeah, radio.
Yep. My name is Detroit. I'm a blue-collar town. Blue salt melts my mid-March snow. Speedy cars and sprinters spring from me. I father fierce fighters and funky music. In a Motown moment, I can spit the blues right back in a bureaucrat's eye. Have you never seen blue salt? No complex chemistry here, only the old color of a new sky. And there's a new sky dawning on Detroit today because we have got Kianda Buford in the station today. We've got Kianda Buford here. She is the president of the PTA at Frederick Douglass High School, where I do my poetry, by the way, when I'm not going around to the high schools and doing my poetry to the student bodies there, or the classes there. And we're going to be interviewing her today about some good things that are happening at Frederick Douglass High School. But first, I need to say this. I want to add my voice to Detroit Police Department Chief James White's voice and to Police Commissioner Willie Burton's voice to express my condolences and thoughts and prayers for the family of Detroit's Isaac Edgy Downtown Synagogue President Samantha Wohl. On behalf of our entire Detroit community, Ms. Wohl was senselessly murdered by an as yet unknown assailant. And that is a tragedy that we all are grieving. I also want to give thanks for the fact that my cousin Jeff Telford's wife, Betsy, and her sister, who had gone to Israel right at the time the country went into this terrible war that is happening there, and they're being now assaulted on 2 sides, but she's back safe. Betsy is back safe. She managed to get out of there, and Betsy is back home. Okay, one last announcement. I'll do this one later. I would like to welcome you, Miss Buford, Kianda. You can call me John.
Thank you, John. I appreciate it.
To the John Telford Detroit Show with Gloria Cunningham, co-host.
And thank you, Gloria.
Anytime.
And tell us about yourself. Where'd you come from? What you been doing with your life? And
oh wow, that's a pretty loaded question. I come from the city of Detroit by way of California. I was born and raised here through about 13. I moved to California, went to high school there, and actually came back to the city of Detroit, where I actually met my husband maybe a year after I got here, and we've been married for 25 years. We have 3 children, 26, 24, and 17. Anthony is the youngest. He does go to Frederick Douglass High School.
And he's also long jumped 23 feet.
Yes, he is.
Which qualified him for All-America status.
Yes.
At the high school level.
Yes.
And Anthony is going to have to make a choice. Is he going to go to school on an athletic scholarship or an academic scholarship? Because he's carrying a 4-point.
I figure why not both?
Yeah,
Let's
maybe
get as much money as we can get.
Yeah,
right?
maybe both. I didn't know if they did both. You know, I wasn't that good a student. I went on an athletic scholarship to Wayne State. And, you know, we want to get Anthony down to Wayne State. So, Dr. Espy, President Espy, if you're listening, we've got to get that track program back at Wayne State University. That track program once was the best in the state. You know, back in the old days when we were breaking world records and running on national teams, and we've got to make that happen again. Back in the old days, we had a relay teams were beating everybody. One of the Penn relays beat Michigan State. Got to have that happen again, Dr. Espy. And Miss Wallace, athletic director Erica Wallace. So, you know, I'm going to keep bugging you until you do that. You know, they're putting a new track. I hope they're putting a new track over at Chandler Park. You know, they got that facility that's finally coming up over there now. And I got to get to the mayor about that, too, and some other folks to make sure that there is a track in that facility for Wayne State and the colleges and the high schools in Detroit and the post-college athletes all to be able to run on. And I am digressing. The minute you start talking about track, you're going to hear me digress because I owe my whole life to track. But tell us, Kianda, why did you choose Frederick Douglass for your son's education?
Okay, so initially it was an education that brought us to Frederick Douglass. We were looking for a school that offered academics and athletics. We heard about the basketball coach. My husband
had a great track coach too. You know?
Yeah, so my husband initially talked to the basketball coach, saw some interest. Then we got on the phone with
Who
Dr.
is the basketball coach?
His name is Brooks, Coach Brooks.
Oh yeah.
Yep. And so he was voted as the top coach of the year, I think, the year that Anthony was in about 10th grade. We were trying to get him involved in sports. He went to DEPSA, which is Detroit Edison Public School Academy, the year of COVID. He did not have the best experience there because he's more of a hands-on kid. He likes to build relationships with his teachers and his peers, and COVID was specifically, online. So he didn't make those connections that he would normally make, which is why Frederick Douglass is perfect for him.
Yeah, and Robert Lynch, is one of the best track coaches ever.
He is. So we actually officially met Coach Lynch coming into Frederick Douglass, but we'd already been in the same circles because our older kids ran track. So Motor City Track Club was one of the top clubs, but our club was pretty good too. So we knew of Coach Lynch, and now we have a more personal relationship with him, as well as Anthony belongs to his track club now.
We've got to get Motor City Track Club more publicity.
Absolutely.
In the old days, we founded the Detroit Track Club. We called it was the Detroit Track Club, and that club was breaking world records.
Yes, I could see Motor City doing that same thing. We have some really great athletes on the team making records and doing some wonderful things across the country after they leave,
Give you
Michigan.
a little history, little Detroit history. Some of you probably already know Detroit track history. We had Henry Carr at Northwestern High School, which was one of my alma maters before I got put out of there and sent to live with my dad at Denby. But Henry Carr was probably the fastest human being who ever lived.
Wow. And
I would match him against Usain Bolt on a rubber track. He never ran on a rubber track, but he had the world record for 220 yards, which he tied when he was in high school.
Wow.
Only one other runner ever did that, and that was Jesse Owens from Cleveland East Tech. So there are two runners that tied a sprint record in high school. One was Jesse Owens, the other one was Detroit's Henry Carr. But the Detroit Track Club had a relay team that was actually anchored not by me. It was anchored by Pete Petros, who later became principal of Mumford High School, and he was a real mentor of mine. He was 10 years older than me. But I was running on that relay team, and the other two runners were Jim Bibbs, who later coached track at Michigan State, and then Bullet Billy Smith, who had a world record in the low hurdles. And that relay team set a world record. And I don't know how many of Detroit's students today know about that, because the year was 1958 when that relay team.
Yeah, I was going to say, I know about Jesse Owens, but I did not know about Henry Carr. And I'm going to venture to say that the kids don't know.
No, they don't know
the
about
history you just spoke to us just now.
No, we have a tremendous boxing and track history that really isn't known. I mean, everyone knows who Joe Louis was.
Yeah.
But a lot of folks don't know who Sugar Ray Robinson was.
I've heard of Sugar Ray, though.
Oh, that's good, because he was the original Sugar Ray, not Sugar Ray Leonard, not Sugar Ray Seal, not some of the other Sugar Rays that took that name.
Right.
Sugar Ray Robinson was probably the greatest fighter who ever lived. And you know who said that? Who said that he was the greatest? Ali said, yeah. He modeled himself after Sugar Ray, because Ali, had the speed of a middleweight.
Right.
And Sugar Ray was a middleweight, and I'm digressing again, but... tell us more about why you chose Frederick Douglass.
Okay, so initially, before we made the final decision, we got on the phone with Dr. Segrist, who's the head of our Geoinformational Systems program, where the boys can actually earn a certificate in Geoinformational Systems.
Segrist at Frederick Douglass.
Yes, he is.
Good man.
Yes, he is. We have one of the top programs in the state of Michigan for GIS. Our boys
What is GIS?
It's Geoinformational Systems. So basically, you're using mapping to gather data and analytics across a certain geographical area, or you also learn how to create drones, how to use drones, all that kind of stuff. So it's pretty upcoming technology, and if the boys earn those certificates, they can leave high school making $80K a year.
Wow.
So that's the beginning, that's the floor for them in terms of earning.
How did you hear about Chad Segrist? How did you hear about him?
We were introduced on that first phone call when we talked to Dr. Segrist, Coach Brooks, Dean Davis, and also our principal, Dr. Willie White.
Yeah,
so,
Willie White, by the way, I have the utmost respect for that guy.
Absolutely.
He's doing a great job with these kids. He's great with the young men. And that's one of the reasons why we have to keep Frederick Douglass High School open.
Absolutely.
Because it's such a good school for the kids. They need that school really badly. And Dr. Vitti, if you're watching this show today, or even if you are, I'm going to be sending it to you, because we've got to keep Frederick Douglass open.
We do. It's a hidden gem, definitely.
Well, tell us more about this hidden gem.
Well, okay, so outside of the GIS program, we also have a college program that we partnered up with Eastern Michigan University, where the boys can graduate with an associate's degree when they graduate high school. So that gives them a step ahead in terms of not necessarily having to pay for those first 2 years. And then also they walk into college and they can come out with their master's degree within 4 years instead of just a bachelor's.
So we've got that program going with Eastern Michigan University. Mm-hmm. What about Wayne State University in the city of Detroit?
I believe that some of the students do take some classes at Wayne State, but I know more about Eastern Michigan than I do about Wayne State. And I know that some of the boys, depending on what their interests are, they can take college courses at any of these colleges here that partner with Frederick Douglass.
That's beautiful, and I'm learning some things about Frederick Douglass I didn't know, because I only go there 3 hours a week, on Monday mornings from 8 o'clock to 9 o'clock when I do my poetry with who's the lady I do? Oh, Miss Major. Mm-hmm. Now it's Miss Major. It used to be with Mr. Gore, but he injured his knee and he's retired, and hopefully he'll be coming back.
Do you go to different classes for the 3 days?
I have one class.
Okay.
I have one class, and I have a bunch of really good kids, good, smart kids, and I enjoy them. I was there, the day before yesterday, and we had a real good session. And
and what grades are at Frederick Douglass?
9th through 12th grade.
Yeah, it's a high school, 9 through 12.
And we have about 80 students total.
Okay, I was
Yeah.
going to ask you that. And who thinks of going to Frederick Douglass? Do you guys look for people that would like to go or recommend them?
So we're always recruiting new students. We're trying to get our student body up to 150 students
Oh, okay.
total. We are in danger of being closed because we have such a low student body is what is being circulated now. And I hope that does not happen because, again, it's like getting a private school education in a public school system.
Yeah.
The way
Closing
that
the
it's
school.
designed.
Closing the school would be utterly tragic. I've seen what Mr. White is doing. I've seen what the PTA is doing. I've seen what the staff is doing. Much of the staff. You know, I go around once a month to another high school to read my poetry. But 3 hours per month, every Monday morning, I'm at Frederick Douglass. And how has the staff supported your son during his attendance at Frederick Douglass?
Wow. I would say that they've been completely supportive, and anything that he needs, any questions that he has, he knows he can go to multiple people. He doesn't have to just come to me, his dad.
Yeah.
He can, hey, I need help.
That's so important. And, I have the utmost admiration for your son, because I think at the very beginning of the school year, I was in the gymnasium with all of the kids and the staff, and there weren't any chairs in there. And I'm having a little trouble with my back. I'm on a cane, I'm almost 88 years old. And so I had to sit with my back against the wall on the floor. And then when it was time for everybody to leave, I couldn't get up.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, and Anthony came over and picked me up like I was a feather. He just came over and helped me get up. And I really appreciated that he had the thoughtfulness to do that.
Yeah, he's one of the best people I know.
I'm totally not surprised at that.
Okay, we're going to take a little break.
Okay.
You're watching the Dr. John Telford Show live streaming on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter, and other top social media platforms. Like, follow, share, comment, and subscribe. Thank you for watching WJZZ Cool TV, the coolest station in the world.
Thank you, Gloria Cunningham, for that station identification. And let me say this before we continue our interview. You can give output on the Land Value Tax Plan proposal. The Land Value Tax Plan proposal today, Wednesday, October the 25th at 5:00 p.m. by calling this call-in number. The call-in number is 312-626-6799. That's 312-626-6799. Russ Ballant, my man Russ Ballant, supplied me with this information, and he does not support the Land Value Tax Plan for a variety of reasons. If Russ Ballant doesn't support it, I can tell you right now that I don't support it. So you might want to find out a little bit more about this and call in to 312-626-6799 at 5:00 p.m. today, Wednesday, October the 25th. And we are interviewing a young lady who's doing a yeoman job as PTA president at Frederick Douglass High School. Now, Frederick Douglass High School is a high school for young men. And it has a very fine principal there named Dr. Willie White. It has an excellent staff there. And I am the poet in residence, and that happens to be my residence at the DPSCD. It used to be housed over at the old Murray Wright High School. Now they have moved it, for some reason I'm not entirely understanding, over to the old Northern High School over on Woodward Avenue. So that's where we're conducting that school. That is an exemplary model school, and we have got to keep that school open. We've got to keep that school open.
How many male teachers are there, or male staff members?
Wow.
In terms of the ratio female-male, we know there are more probably female teachers.
I would say it's probably about 50-50.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, it appears to be about
yeah.
50-50.
That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, one counselor, and that's Miss Adams.
Mm-hmm. We got Major, Miss Milliner, and then I don't know the male teachers by name, but I can picture their faces.
Well, social studies was...
I know Segrist, there's a music teacher. There's another teacher, I don't know his name, I'm picturing him right now, but there's about a 50% ratio.
Okay,
Everyone
that's
that I've
great.
talked to
I
over
was
there,
thinking 70, 70 women and that kind of thing.
No.
No.
We definitely, I mean, even Coach Brooks is a teacher as well. So we do have a nice even ratio of men to women teachers. And again, because we're so small, the students get to develop relationships with both the male and female teachers. And so it's a nice community, and they get to know the students by name. Whereas if there was a larger student body, there would be less time to get to know each boy.
Do other schools tend to suggest to their students that might be a good fit for Frederick Douglass?
I can't speak for other schools.
I mean,
I don't know.
In terms of the principal, has he ever mentioned that kind of thing? Like,
I would say that we do. Kids who actually flunk out of Cass Tech and Renaissance.
okay,
typically
that's what I was
end
looking
up
for.
at our school for one reason or another. If it's not sports, it's academics. And again, because we give that private school education in a public school
Yeah, and
system,
it's not
it's very
1,500
attractive.
kids there.
Yeah, and so you can get
like Cass.
more consistent student to teacher ratio. So my son's senior class, there's only 24 students in that class. So imagine the type of attention and care they get from the teachers based on the fact that the teacher is not overwhelmed by so many students and so much work, because the more students you have, there's more work to correct, there's more instruction. You know what I mean?
Yes,
right?
yes.
So I think it works out for both the students and the teachers, the class sizes being smaller.
Okay.
What colleges have been recruiting Anthony?
So right now, the interest has come from Iowa, the Naval Academy, and what's the other guy? The other one is the other big time military school. West Point?
West Point, not
Yeah.
the University of Michigan?
Nope, we have not heard from the University
Or
of
Michigan State?
No, we have not heard from any of those schools. Again,
This
like I said,
this kid's jumping 23 feet. Come on, you guys, what's going on? You gonna let him
Right.
get out of state?
we
Well,
have heard from Albion. He just did a college visit there, but we definitely would love to be at U of M or Michigan State. Those are definitely great schools.
Yeah, well, I can't believe they're not recruiting him, jumping 23 feet. Oh, boy. Well, they didn't recruit me either. Michigan didn't, which was a mistake, because I spent 4 years beating them.
Right.
I only lost to one Michigan... No, I didn't. I didn't lose to any Michigan runners. Now that I think about it. I was up. I was up for them, boy, because I always resented the fact they never recruited me.
Well, that's how you get the payback. You beat them every time you see them.
Yeah, in those days, though, there was a quota. And I think they thought, since I came out of Detroit, that I was black. That happened a lot of times.
Really?
Yeah. I found out later that a lot of people. In fact, there was one fellow who said that I met. He said when I introduced myself to him, he said, "John Telford." He said there was a top sprinter by that name, but he was black. I said, "No, I am he, the very same," and that was quite a while back. But anyway. Tell us how you got involved in the PTA.
Okay, so you mentioned Major Morales. She approached me very early on, as well as Dr. Willie White, who's our principal.
Ayana Morales. She is one heck of a teacher. I cannot believe how
She's a
good
great
that
person.
lady is.
Yeah, so they both approached me about, hey, we need some help with the PTA. And I'm going to be quite honest with you. I have 2 older kids. I was very heavily involved and everything, and I was just wanting a break. And so I toiled over it for that 10th grade year, and finally I said, okay, I'll step in. And I was able to rally another parent. Her name is Keisha Barber. She is my vice president, and also
Keisha Barber.
Yes, her son is Elijah Spivey. He also plays on the basketball team with Anthony, as well as Brandy Clark Jackson. She's my treasurer. That's my leadership team for the PTA. I couldn't do what I do without them. They are certainly the backbone of everything we do.
Spivey. I had Willie Spivey when I was at Butzel many years ago. That's the uncle of Andre Spivey. Was on the. Any relation?
I have no idea.
Okay.
I don't know their familial background, but yeah, I rallied those two to join with me, and they have been with me the last couple of years. Unfortunately, me and Keisha Barber are going to be backing out this year as we have seniors.
Oh.
Brandy has a senior too, but she also has a 9th grader who started this year. So we're hoping that she will take the helm and become the new president. And if she's listening, Brandy, I'm asking again. Please become the president when we leave, and we will help you find support, because you're going to need the support.
Yeah. Tell us more about what are some of the events? I mean, what is this PTA doing?
So because we're a PTA, and anything that we generate in terms of funds, we can choose to do whatever we want to do for the boys. So we do a lot of concession selling, different types of fundraisers. We receive donations from previous students, previous parents, and we do things such as honoring parents, honoring students, special mentions. Mm-hmm. And before, that wasn't necessarily happening.
Yeah.
So that's what we do for them. So this year, I think we're focusing seniors, giving them a great senior year, and we just, hey, how much money can we raise? What can we do for the boys? How can we make this special for them?
That's so impressive. Dr. V.
Yeah. I'm ready to come over and volunteer. You know how addicted I am to kids and young people.
Yes, I mean, we need all the
I want you
help
to talk
we
to them
get.
anyway. I want you to talk to them about some of the things that you've been doing.
Okay. I should bring them a bunch of magazines.
Those also, yeah.
That magazine we did.
Yeah, and to say the name of the magazine.
Urban Teen.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, I might have one in my car I can give you, and you can see it. It teaches kids how to write, and it focuses on the great things that they do, not the bad things. You always hear about the negative. And it has some sports things in.
That magazine ought to be all over DPSCD.
I could not get VD.
Okay, hear that, Dr. VD? Come on, let's.
Every school should have gotten at least one box. There's only 29 copies in a box. Okay. 29. You can go to the staff and say, okay, put in $10 and support this book, and then we could have kept it going.
Yeah, it's a great magazine.
It sounds like it's pretty cool.
Might have one in my car, and I'll give it to you. If not, you'll get one. I'll come to Frederick Douglass.
Okay.
So let's get that magazine, Dr. Vitti, and
he was for it.
Deputy Superintendent Merriweather, and for God's sake, let's keep the school open. Let's keep Frederick Douglass open.
Yeah, and he was on you when he first started. He was on your show, and his wife loved it, and he loved it, but
I remember
it didn't go further.
Yeah, I remember bringing him over to the where was it? It was the 14th district meeting or something. We brought Dr. Vitti in, and that's when Adrian was still alive. Seemed like everything was going to be all systems go, but I guess there've been people pulling him in so many directions.
He's been doing it for a while now.
It's been 7 years, 7 or 8 years. Maybe I think we might be on the 8th year within the VD administration.
Okay, let me do the break real quick.
Okay.
You're watching the Dr. John Telford Show live streaming on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter, and other top social media platforms. Like, follow, share, comment, and subscribe. Thank you for watching WJZZ Cool TV, the coolest station in the world.
Thank you, Gloria Cunningham, for that station identification. Miss Virginia Starkey, fondly known simply as V, the proprietress of V's Boutique, offers a wide range of fine clothing and accessories for ladies. You can find all sizes of women's fine apparel in Wjzz. One-stop, excellent customer service at Wjzz Boutique that you can't find anywhere else in Detroit anymore. So head over to Wjzz Boutique over at 16423 East Warren. That's over right on the corner of Outer Drive, and get some of that fine clothing at Wjzz Boutique. We are interviewing Kianda Buford, who is the president of the PTA at the exemplary high school called Frederick Douglass. It is a high school for young men, Frederick Douglass Academy. And this PTA is a very active PTA, largely, I suspect, thanks to Miss Buford. And she's not going to be there after this year because her son Anthony, who is an all-America long jumper who should be getting recruited by the University of Michigan, but thus far has not been, although he's been recruited by just about everybody else because they recognize that this kid is going to probably win the NCAA one of these days. And why Michigan's not doing it, they better get on the ball because they're not going to stay at the top of the Big Ten in track if they don't. But anyway, tell us a little bit more about the camaraderie, because I see camaraderie between the young men, the young students there.
Yeah, the camaraderie is very deep for the boys. Even when they're not in school, they actually have group chats that they can talk to each other throughout the day. When they're at home, if they have questions about assignments, if they need to be updated about something. So they're very connected even when they're not physically in the school together. So I feel like it's more of a brotherhood than it is classmates. And again, because the classes are so small, they really get to know each other as people.
And they're not chasing girls.
Right. Well, they still are.
Yeah, but not
in the school.
Yeah, sometimes I think that's a good idea, because girls can be very distracting.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, well, they find a way.
Boys.
Most of the boys have girlfriends, and most of the girlfriends are at Cass Tech or Renaissance or
King.
Well, those are good places for them to have the girlfriends. Cass Tech, Renaissance, and King.
Yeah, so last year we had prom. Our boys didn't come to our prom because they went to Cass Tech's prom with their girlfriends. So
what I have found with this class that I have with Miss Major this semester is that these kids are quite sophisticated, and they ask interesting questions. We played the first part of my my radio show because I was talking about what's happening in Israel, and they were quite knowledgeable about it. They wanted to discuss it. They wanted to ask more questions about it. And after I read them this poem that's in this book right here, my book, Athletes, Activism, and Apple Boughs, a Detroit Poetic Epic. Athletes, Activism, and Apple Boughs, a Detroit Poetic Epic. This poem on page 17 is called The 13th Hour, and I wrote this poem decades ago, and then I revisited it in 2021, and it's a quatrain, and I taught the kids what a quatrain is. That's 4 lines that rhyme and have meter, and it goes like this. And they looked up some of these words, but some of them they already knew. Xenophobic, ethnocentric, racist, classist kinds of misanthropically myopic, microscopic minds mask beneath intolerance a frightful face of fear that's globally infectious. The Holocaust is here. Now, the Republican corporate crocodiles, we've got, I'm not going to go into a political tirade today, but as I do on my radio show. But these kids are knowledgeable, and I can tell they're knowledgeable at least partially, not just because of their teachers, but because of their homes and their families. These are kids who are coming from some pretty good homes. They're going to be going to college. They're going to be They're going to be leading this country out of the morass which our generation has put it in, and that's my lecture for the day. Talk a little bit about the type of events that the PTA has put together for the young men throughout the year.
Okay.
Ms. Buford.
So one of the things that we've done is we created instead of doing a homecoming dance, we did a homecoming pep rally where we were able to honor the student athletes as well as their parents. We gave them commemorative items such as pictures of their student, as well as roses to the moms. We are also doing a parent breakfast with the senior students and the parents this year. We also put on dances, which Major has helped us a lot with that, as well as the Girls School, Detroit Institute of Arts. We partner with them to do like the decorating and things like that. I'm trying to think of what else have we done. We're actually going to do a raffle for the basketball team this year.
Oh.
As you know, we have changed our school colors, so therefore the old uniforms don't apply anymore.
What were they before?
They were green, orange, and white, and now they're black, silver, and white.
Okay.
So we are sponsoring a raffle to generate funds for the boys to get their warm-ups, their backpacks, their uniforms, and that way it takes the pressure off of the parents to have to pay for those types of things out of pocket. And so we've been pretty successful with initiating things like that. So the raffle is, one raffle ticket is, I believe, $5, and then if you want to buy 3 raffle tickets, that's $10. And so we are gonna push this raffle tomorrow. We're gonna actually roll it out to us senior parents because we're gonna have a senior meeting, and we're gonna run it for about 3 weeks, and the winner will be announced at our first game on November 17th. You can either win a TV or season tickets to the home games at Frederick Douglass.
To the Lions.
No, Frederick Douglass basketball team games. We have control there. That's our sphere of influence.
Okay.
Hey, how about this PTA, a high school PTA doing all those things?
Yeah,
I
that's
don't know
great.
if I've seen too many high school PTAs that have been.
You usually get about 4 or 5 parents that.
Yeah, I mean,
are
we have
involved.
a nice core of parents. We do have the parents that we can't get to come to meetings or participate.
Oh, okay.
But we have a nice group. We have a
And
nice group.
how often do you meet?
We meet once a month. The third Thursday of every month, we meet with the parents at the school.
Okay.
And Gloria organized. Tell a little bit about what you did with PTAs.
It's a long time ago.
You don't want to tell us? Because you were pretty prominent in that, if I recall.
Well, you know, I don't like, it's hard for me to sit down. I keep working myself here in this room. But my kids all went to Cass and they went to Go Lightly before that. So I can be anywhere, and I was at a fruit market yesterday, Western Market, and that was my first time. And I met a lady from Motown that's 90 years old.
Wow.
That did makeup. At Motown, we had our polling meeting to work the polls, and she was there, and she told me about this market. But she's connected to a lot of people, but she says, I'm older now, everybody's gone. But this lady came to the parking lot and said, you look familiar. And in 2 minutes, she remembered who I was, where I was, so I'm kind of all over the place. But I, of course, was active in all of my kids' school because you can't raise them if you can't see them. So I'm just a busybody. I do photos and different things. So, but the show is not about me.
Well, yeah, it is in a way. You're the co-host, and I also recall that you're still quite active in your alma mater, which doesn't exist anymore. That's the Mackenzie High School.
Yeah, I started that in '94, and we work with a lot of the Miller Group. And they helped us have this great picnic outside of our school. And of course, Mackenzie High is gone, but we do have Mackenzie K-8. So
yes, that's a nice building over there.
Yeah, and that might be the best thing about it, the building.
In the old days, Mackenzie was a tough track school.
Oh, really?
Oh,
I just can't get over Wayne State not having a track program in Detroit.
I know it's
in Detroit.
The Detroit track old timers have been trying for a while to get it back, but we're getting kind of long in the tooth. You know, I'm believe it or not, I'm the youngest one now, and I'm almost 88. We've got Al Tellis, who coached track at Pershing, and he also ran with me in the Penn Relays. He's 95. We've got the dentist who is a top half miler, champion half miler, Ron Turner. He's 95, and we've lost a lot of our presidents to the Grim Reaper. You know, we're all starting to get a little long in the tooth, or falling off the cliff, you know, into the abyss.
Well, I'm going to come over to Frederick Douglass next week, so we'll talk about it. Doc.
Okay, we're gonna definitely make
I
that happen.
have been there before, but it's been a while.
Okay, this coming Monday, I have to go to the new high school over on 6 Mile Road. That's kind of the exemplary school now, Mary Grove.
That's what I was going to say. It sounds like Mary Grove. They turned that into a school
Yeah.
now and not a college anymore.
Yeah, I got to be at Mary Grove this Monday, but the Monday after next, you know, we'll
And what are you doing in Mary Grove? The same thing?
I'll be
Poetry.
reading to their student body or to classes. I let the principals decide, you know, what my audience is. Sometimes they have me read to all of them, and that's not a real populous school, so maybe I'll be reading to all of them. I don't know.
And is it charter?
No, it's actually a DPS. It's
DPS took it. Okay.
Yeah.
It's kind of it's a model experimental school.
Right.
And
it's an application school too.
Application, yeah. And I understand they're doing a bang-up job over there. I'm looking forward to meeting the principal and meeting the kids.
It's the only high schools over there, Mumford and then Henry Ford.
Right.
You know.
That's right. Yeah, Mumford and Henry Ford. Mumford. That's where Adrian went. You know, she went to that was my third wife, Adrian. She's a Mumford Mustang.
Yeah.
That was the name my high school coach gave me, Mustang, but I wasn't a Mumford Mustang. I was a Denby Tar at that time. So tell us more about the PTO parent leadership team you got over there. Apparently you got a pretty good one, and you're going to try to get them to carry on what you have been doing.
Yes. Well, as I was saying earlier, my VP Keisha Barber and my treasurer Brandy Clark Jackson, the three of us typically put our heads together and come up with the ideas of what we want to do for the boys. We present it to the parents decide if they agree, and we typically are the people who execute.
Maybe I should have them on this show too. Maybe Gloria and I.
I think it would be a good idea for sure.
Yeah. Bring Keisha Barber and
Brandy Clark Jackson.
Brandy Clark Jackson.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep.
That's an idea. Let's explore that idea. So, why do you think Frederick Douglass is such a gem for DPS CD? Talk about that in as much depth as you can with the time we've got left.
Okay. The reason that I feel that Frederick Douglass is a gem because they have a huge academic focus. If they feel like a boy is slipping behind or a person isn't showing up to school, they have a relationship enough where they go and they find that boy at home.
Whoa.
They bring them to school. We were noted as being one of the top schools for attendance in the city of Detroit as well. So it's not just that somebody is missing today. We want to know where you are. We're calling your parents. Did you send him to school today? Where is he? Mm-hmm. And we go and we put our hands on that boy and we get that boy back into the school, and we definitely push excellence in everything that we do. Our basketball team was one of the highest GPAs within DPS in terms of the overall GPA for the boys. It is not uncommon for our boys to have a 4.0 or better in their academics. So that's a gem in and of itself. The athletic program, we're still coming along in cross country, track, basketball is definitely up there as well. We lost a few seniors last year, so I really believe with the actual freshmen and sophomores that came in this year, we're going to have a pretty great team. Coach Brooks is doing a great job with the team over there, and as well as Coach Lynch. He had a really good football season this year, and I look forward to track.
Lynch is coaching football also? He coaches football?
He does. He coaches the football.
Does he teach too? Does Lynch teach?
I don't think he teaches. I think he
okay.
specifically is there for athletics. But yeah, we definitely have a little bit of everything. So if you have a student that specifically wants to do robotics or GIS, we cater to that. You know, if you have a student that is really into athletics, we have that. If you have someone who's just specifically into academics, we have that. So I feel like we're a triple threat in terms of education, athletics, and technology, right? So that's what makes us a gym. We are smaller, so we get to give that one-on-one, I don't want to say concierge service in terms of education, but that's what I liken it to. You know, if a student is falling behind, the teachers know immediately, and they know how to give that additional care and encouragement to that boy to get him to where he needs to be.
See, the people business is an above and beyond type of thing. And I love going beyond. You know, they don't say, well, I'm at work and I'm off work now and I don't have to do this. I call all my students, my kids. I saw them day, night, weekends. I taught some extracurricular things that had me doing things on the weekend. At night, I would ride them around. We would go eat. We would do a lot of different things. Mm-hmm. So every person in education and in the health district should go above and beyond, or they should do something else, like cut the grass or paint a wall, not serve people. But I'm going to do the break, and then we only have about 3-4 minutes left after that. You're watching the Dr. John Telford Show live streaming on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter, and other top social media platforms. Like, follow, share, comment, and subscribe. Thank you for watching WJZZ Cool TV, the coolest station in the world. And thank you for coming. I'm going to be down at Frederick Douglass. Any other school?
Yes.
Okay, shut up. All right.
No, I got something I got to say.
Okay.
Tiffany Tilley is running for Congress in Michigan's 10th district against Republican John James, and we got to make sure that we get her elected. She's on the State Board of Education. She was with me on the executive board of the old 14th District Democrats, and so I'm saying vote Tiffany Tilley at gmail.com is her email. Vote Tiffany, Tiffany, Tilley, Tilley, at gmail.com. Go ahead, Gloria, you were saying.
Okay, I was just doing a little close, but you got about 2 minutes, Doc, so
I got 2 minutes?
Say a few things, and then I'll close you out.
Okay.
And thank you, Miss Buford, for coming here.
Thank you for having me. It was a pleasure.
We'll forgive you for not going to a DPS high school from California.
Well, she went to Post, and she went to, what was the?
Custer Elementary.
Custer Elementary.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so she's a DPS lady.
Yeah, and you know, we have my California daughter, so we're going to be talking every other day.
I can't believe that PTA is actually chasing after kids at home and making them come back. I've never seen a high school.
It's actually Dr. Willie White and Dean Davis that actually do that. We used to
Davis?
Yep, Dean Davis and Dr. White. They're the ones who go seeking the boys.
What's Davis' full name?
I don't know Dean Davis'
he's
first
the dean
name.
of student.
Yes.
What's Lawrence doing? Lawrence. Trying to think of his last name. Impressive guy. I thought he was the dean of students. Maybe
it might be Lawrence Davis.
Oh, Lawrence Davis. Okay,
yes.
That's it.
1 minute.
There's only one dean of students.
Okay.
So
1 minute. Okay.
Yeah, go ahead. I'm good.
Because we're closing out now.
Go ahead.
Okay, you've been watching the John Telford Detroit Show with Dr. John Telford and me, Gloria Cunningham, and Miss Buford, coming to you on WJZZ Cool TV every Wednesday morning at 10 o'clock. Also streaming on your YouTube and Facebook. Contact Dr. John Telford at 313-460-8272. That's 460-8272. See you later.
That was a good show.